All right, welcome back to another episode of the Extreme Lifestyle Living Podcast. Now, today's episode is short and sweet, honestly, because of two reasons. Number one, in a little bit of a rush today, but I'm sticking to my mandatory goals in terms of getting things done when I need to get them done. I usually take about 30 to 45 minutes to record these episodes because I don't like to ever feel any time crunch, but today I got about 19 minutes. I wasn't going to record. I was going to wait until the weekend, but again, I want to challenge myself to stick to the goals that I've said I've been sticking to. Now, if you've watched last episode, I talked about 6 months of the year is done. Next 6 months of the year we're locked in. So if I want to be locked in, I got to stick to my motherfucking goals, and I got to stick to got to have integrity, got to have discipline, got to be committed. You know what I mean? So I'm going to challenge myself to make this a little bit more shorter and sweeter in terms of impact. But honestly, the topic is short and sweet anyways. And the topic is today's episode is on when are you going to realize your time is limited? When are you going to realize you're not on this planet forever? And the reason I want to emphasize that so much is because, the average age in Canada is, I think, 76 years old, give or take. So let's just use 80 as an average age just to make it easy. 80 years old is an easy number just to use. So imagine we're all passing away at 80 years old. That means through our entire life, we have 80 summers, 80 winters, 80 birthdays, 80 opportunities, 80 years, 80 opportunities, actually 80 times 365 days is how many opportunities you get. If you want to break that down to hourly, how many hours you have in 80 years of your life of opportunities. But we only have 80 summers. Do you know what I mean? You only have 80 summers of your entire life of existence to feel your absolute best. There's only 80 Christmases that you get to go to spend time with your friends and your family. There's only 80 birthdays you have to not only celebrate yourself, but everyone else around you, their birthdays as well, 80 times. So when you start to break things down from a perspective of how limited our time really is, it should create a lot of pressure for you to start showing the fuck up. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of you guys, when it comes to health, comes to fitness, comes to nutrition, comes to just your boundaries and showing up for yourselves, it's like a lot of you guys act as if you have a limited amount of time on this planet. And that's why, going to the gym and fitness is such a big thing, because once you hit 35 and above, especially 40 and above, especially 45 and above, your time is super fucking limited. If you haven't put time into your nutrition, haven't put time into your fitness to build strength for longevity, mobility purposes, and you're having health scares because you generally aren't focusing on the right things, you have 35 to 40 summers, 35 to 40 Christmases, 35 to 40 birthdays to make the biggest impact that you can for the rest of your life. And we all know, statistically speaking, after 40 years old, physiologically speaking, especially, you're limited, already on a limited time frame. So the reason why I say that is because, there's two different types of people. There's people that are completely fucking naive to how much time is on this planet, and they just assume they're going to be here forever, and they don't understand the importance of day-to-day and week-to-week actions to show the fuck up. Then you have people on the other side of the fence, which is kind of like me. We get anxiety because one day you're not going to be here. You get anxiety because you feel the pressure to make sure every single moment of every single day of every single week of every single month is optimized to live your life to the absolute fullest, to the point that it almost takes away from yourself. But we got to look at it from the middle ground. If you literally do not realize that one day you're not going to be on this planet, and one day you're not going to be able to celebrate your birthday, one day you're not going to be able to celebrate your mom's birthday, one day you're not going to be able to celebrate your brothers, your sisters, your friends, your family, whoever's birthday, there's going to be Christmases over the next 40 to 60 to 80 years of our lives that people start disappearing. They're passing away. Animals, pets, careers, seasons of life, they all go away because at the end of the day, our time is super fucking limited. And the reason why I want to share that is because it's summertime right now. It's July 16th when I'm recording this podcast episode. And let's say you're 30 years old. So let's say the first 10, 15 years of your life, you're just, growing up, becoming a teen, an adult, whatever it is. You've got 15 summers that are just already accounted for because you're growing up and being a kid. But usually between 15 years old, we all start caring about our image. We start caring about how we carry ourselves. We start caring about what other people think of us and say. And then 15 to 25, you have that decade of really trying to figure out who you are within taking society pressure and people around you. Then 25 to 30, you start living your life. But nonetheless, you get maybe 15, if you're 30 years old, maybe last 15 summers, you haven't been happy with yourself. Especially post-graduation of high school, college, university, whatever that is. Let's say you're 30 years old, you graduated between 22 to 24, you maybe have 5 to 8 solid summers of living your adult life. If you're 40 years old, guess what? You got maybe 15 summers have passed as to what you have access to in terms of how you look and feel. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because we don't have forever on this planet. If you want to look good and feel good and you keep continuously going through summers and don't feel your best, when are you going to realize you have to make a fucking change? Same with Christmas time, same with any other holiday, especially your birthday, so many people aren't as confident as they want to be. And it's not just related to fitness or nutrition. It's a whole wide range of goals. Even just waking up and feeling happy, waking up and feeling confident and comfortable in your own skin, waking up and just being fulfilled by the things that you do each day from an actionable standpoint, whether it's work, things you do for your passion, hanging out with people, or your hobbies, whatever it is. But how many summers are you gonna let go before you actually fucking make a change? And the reason why I want you guys to be a little bit stressed out about that is because the two biggest regrets when people are passing away and they're on their deathbed is, number one, they wish they were fucking happier. And number two, they wish they worked less. And all of us are caught up in this rat race with a society structure of work hard, grind, build this life, show up and do these things. And yeah, sure, we have to do that. We have to build a life. We have to grind. We have to show up and, again, accumulate the life that we want. But we can't do that at the expense of our happiness. We can't do that at the expense of our fulfillment, our joy, and our peace. And the biggest thing is, a lot of us don't realize the weight of the fact that we're not going to be here forever. And I just think it's super important for us to just reflect on that in a very healthy standpoint, because again, when you break that perspective down, 80 summers that you get to have, in terms of feeling your best, that's only 80 opportunities. That's not very much opportunities. Do you know what I mean? So it's very limited. And when you think about it from the perspective of, let's say you see your family once a week, you're living your life, you're grinding, you're showing up, you're building this lifestyle that you want, you're putting in the work, you're grinding, and you see your parents once a fucking week. So that's 52 times a year you get to see your family. Now times that by the next 30 years, you're seeing your family maybe 300 to 400 times. Now, no, sure, thinking about that, it seems like a lot. But many of us don't see our parents every week. Do you know what I mean? So imagine you just realize that every single time you go to see your parents, like let's say it's 100 times you're going to see your parents, because I haven't seen my mom, my grandmother. I probably see them once every 2 to 4 months. So let's say I see them 5 times a year, 5 times 80. Like I'm not seeing my family that much. And when I look at it from that perspective, it makes me value that time. Do you know what I mean? It makes me value that time that I'm seeing them. And when you have these little subtle perspective shifts as to the severity of our limitation of time, you're going to put a lot more fucking value on the time that you're spending. And it's going to make you a lot more aggressive as to how you're spending that time. And that's why I'm emphasizing summer, because how many times have you been going through summer not happy with your body? You get to the beach, you're scared to take your shirt off, or you get to a public area, you're scared to change or do your certain, feel as confident as you want to, whether you're a female not confident to wear a bikini, whether you're a guy not confident to take your shirt off. How many more summers are you gonna let go by with that feeling and that burden? Because again, yeah, sure, summer's an easy example that we can have because it's hot outside, the weather's nice, we all kind of go out and wear more revealing clothes, and it's not about revealing for other people, it's just to be confident and wear what we want to wear, and it's hot out. You don't want to be wearing fucking sweaters and long t-shirts and shit like that. But when you look at it from the other perspective is too, like Christmas time, fall, other seasons of life, and how many times in your life do you just allow your emotions to just be set to the side because you're like, oh, I'll deal with that tomorrow, or I'll deal with that next time. Prime example, New Year's resolutions. Just the statistics show that 80% of people drop off after the first 4 weeks, and I think 95% of people drop off after the first 6 weeks around Valentine's Day. You have 80 years on this planet. The first 20 don't even really count because you're trying to become an adult and grow up. So you have 60 years. So 60 opportunities to prove to yourself that you are capable of making certain changes. And you're going to allow 60 years go by and never, ever actually reach your goals. You're going to let 60 summers go by and never actually fucking get in shape. And the reason why I say it that way is because we always say next year. We always say next week. We always say another time. But those times aren't fucking guaranteed. Even me recording this podcast episode right now is the only time that's guaranteed. Yesterday's gone. It is what it is. After this podcast episode, when I get into my day, anything could happen. I could be in a car accident. There could be, I don't like to wish ill will, but again, to make an elaborate example, there could be a fucking airplane crash in front of me on the fucking highway that takes me and 20 other people out. We don't know, and I know that sounds crazy, but I'm saying it from the standpoint of we don't know where tomorrow's going to take us. We don't know what next week's going to bring. But we can all agree that our time is super fucking limited. And it's that much more important as to why you focus on every single fucking day being your best and being super selfish with that. Because if you look at the glass half full and realize how much time you do not have on this planet, we don't have thousands of years. We don't have hundreds. We don't have centuries. We don't have none of this shit. We have a very short span on this fucking planet. The average age that we pass away in Canada is 76 years old or 78 or something in that regard. So again, in near the end, last 5 years of your life, you're most likely, if you just die of old age and whatever natural causes there is, you're not living your best. Do you know what I mean? So now is the fucking time to set yourself up for success, to live past 80, to be fulfilled, to find your life that you truly enjoy. I love this. This is probably one of the best summers I've had. Same with last summer, because I know where I'm at. I took my time seriously. I know I'm not going to be on this planet forever. So I'm taking advantage of my life while I'm here to get as much out of this life that I can. And I think that's the right reason why I want to share with you guys that is because I don't want you guys to continue to go through summers and seasons of your life just not as happy as you deserve to be. Obviously you would listen to the episode of a podcast. Now, if you feel like you deserve to be happier, then you have to be willing to put in the work for that. But again, this little perspective shift of showing how limited our time really is on this planet, I think will really give you an understanding as to how important it is for you to take your fucking self serious. And it's not about being in the best shape of your life for any other reason than just you being happy and confident with yourself. And it doesn't mean you have to be 2% body fat or absolutely shredded or whatever this kind of false narrative may be that you're selling yourself, that society and social media sells you. But it's about being confident. It's about at least knowing you're in the right position for yourself to do what you need to do for yourself. And that's why I really want you to emphasize the fact that we're limited. And it's not about as morbid kind of negative spin where like, oh, you're going to die one day, but it's all inevitable. We're all going to pass away one day. I was in a car accident where I was technically pronounced dead on the scene, and that changed my life. It showed me how fast time can change, because 7:58 in the morning, I was texting my friends on my way to school to, meet up and go grab breakfast or whatever it is at the cafeteria, and then 8:03 a.m., I was waking up with a fucking blanket over my head while the firefighters were trying to rip the car open. And I remember, like, holy shit, like, it was less than 5 minutes, my entire life fucking changed. To this day, my life has changed because of those times. And it's not about the change that I got physically because the pain and the surgeries and everything in that regard. It's the perspective shift. It's that subtle perspective shift, really understanding that we're not going to be here forever. So that's why, like, a lot of people that come up to me that, like, say, like, I'm really aggressive, and a couple of people said it to me. It's not aggressive. I hear it as aggressiveness because I don't want to come off with bad energy or, like, make people feel some type of way. But that's why I'm so assertive with my boundaries, with my opinions, and my beliefs in that regard, because I do understand the severity of the life that we're living. We're going to die one day. We don't have our entire life to figure it out. We have to figure it out as soon as possible so we can start living our life in an abundant fashion like we deserve. And that's why I love bringing up the fitness, because the fitness is such an easy scapegoat for everyone to be like, oh, I'll do it next week. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start Monday. I'll start next year. I'll start next week, or whatever it may be. And it's like this body that we have is the only thing we have 100% control over, outside of other variables and stuff like that. But hydration, moving your body, eating whole foods and making sure you're feeling good, nurturing your mental health to make sure you're ingesting things that actually serve you and you're not doing any negative patterns. Like, all of these things we can't let go, because one of these days we're going to be met with the time that is our time to be leaving this planet. And it's only going to be in those moments that you really realize how much you didn't do for yourself. And I know that may sound crazy, but if you can kind of remove your emotions and your ego and your kind of bullshit excuses or stories you're selling yourself, and really ask yourself these questions, like, what is it that I need for myself to live my life 110% the way that I need to, you're going to get the answers. In the second that you can realize it's on you and we don't have much time on this fucking planet, the faster you're going to start to put these shit into action. How many, there's that quote, people die at 25 but don't physically die until they're 65? Because at 25 years old, they just sell their soul to getting married, having kids, and getting a career, and then they just go on autopilot. They just go on autopilot, they do their thing. And again, if you are truly happy, fulfilled, and rewarded, and you do actually enjoy that, then fucking love it, 110%. But 90% of us aren't 100% happy. Whether it's the relationship dynamic that we're in, we're not happy with the boundaries, the communication, not feeling seen or heard. Whether it's our career, we're not feeling fulfilled, or not feeling full of just fired up for it because we're not making as much money as we should be. The culture's bad. There's probably other cultural things in terms of political stuff that's going on. And our fitness is the biggest thing. If you genuinely aren't happy when you look in the mirror, then it's we need to make these changes, because it's not like you're going to pass away one day and wake up again and start again. There's not like a video game where you have 3 to 4 lives and you can keep trying it out. We have a short duration on this fucking planet, and it is so important that you just take it super fucking serious, because at the end of the day, you hold the pen to create your destiny, and you get to write a new page every single fucking day. And if there's any ink on that page that doesn't resonate with who you want to become and who you need to be for yourself, you're wasting your time. And if you're wasting your fucking time, what are you doing? There's so many people out there with so many opportunities to become such fucking incredible versions of themselves, and they just don't do it for their own lack of inability of just putting in the work and accepting and embracing the shit they gotta change. And I always like that. I don't like saying this kind of example too much, because I don't really think it's 100% right, but there always used to be a thing growing up where it's the cure to cancer is in a poor person's brain in a third world country. And that may be true. And that's why, when you think about it, people that grew up in worse circumstances than us, and I'm using this from the perspective, I'm in Canada. A lot of people that listen to this are in Canada, Europe, and the States. So those 3 countries are typically more first world countries where we have access to things. It's not like we're growing up and we have to live in poverty. Obviously I grew up in poverty in Canada, but if you look at poverty in Canada versus other third world countries, it's a fucking joke. That's why I like my perspective on being super aggressive, because I grew up worse than most people that I've ever met. Not worse from the standpoint of like actually comparing traumatic experiences and stuff, but from tools and resources. I grew up without any resources for many different fucking reasons that I'm not going to get into, and I could have victimized myself and be like, oh well, this is the life that I'm going to live for the next 80 years because it is what it is. But instead, I looked at it and realized I have a very short duration on this planet, and it's like, do I want 10 to 20 years of my life to dictate the next 60 to 80 years of my life? Or do I want to understand the first 10 to 15 for what it is, remove it, and take advantage of the rest of the time I have on this fucking planet? And I just think you guys have such great opportunities to change your life, especially if you're growing up in Canada, growing up in the States, growing up in Europe, in certain places. Like, we have all of the opportunities if you're willing to show up for yourself and believe in yourself that you deserve these things that you know you fucking want. All of us deep down know who we are and who we need to be as happy as we want to be, but 99% of us aren't willing to actually embrace the mental turmoil that comes with that, because embracing that you're not happy physically is hard. Embracing you're not happy in your relationship is hard. Embracing you're not making enough money in your career and you're unhappy is hard. But what's harder is waking up at 70 years old, waking up at 80 years old, looking back, and you can't make a fucking change. Your relationship is what it is because you've been in it for 60 to 70 years, and how are you going to make a change with that? Your body is so far gone, your physiological state, you can't make these changes. So you got to live with the body that you got. And the same with your career. You're probably retired from a career you fucking didn't give a shit about. And it's like, is that really what you want to sign off when you leave this planet? Whatever you believe in, whether it's God, religion, spirituality, or if you just believe that it's just, you wake up and you live your life and you die one day, regardless, you're going to be met with a version of yourself. And that version of yourself on that deathbed that you're going to have is going to put a mirror to you as to what you were truly capable of on this short duration of this planet. And the goal is to make sure that you not only just meet the best version of yourself in those moments to know that you lived a happy and successful lifestyle, it's about exceeding your own expectations. It's crazy because I don't really know how else to go in on it, because it's really a perspective shift where you understand that every single day is super fucking valuable, and you have to put in the work for yourself to make sure your tomorrow is that much better for yourself, because we will not be here one time. We will not be here one day. Your best friends, your partner, your mom, your dad, they're all going to die. You're going to die. And hopefully, in a very, very happy way, you can do that being proactive and go through these seasons of life proactively, knowing that you did your best for yourself and everyone around you. So again, not to make it too morbid, but again, it's just to look at it from the perspective of we don't have as much time on this planet as we think. I'm turning 32 this year. I feel like I just graduated high school yesterday. I graduated high school like 15, 16 years ago, I think. Like, that's crazy to think about that. I graduated university and college 8 years ago. Crazy to think about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, even this career that I'm living with the podcast and my coaching and my communities and my clients and all these things, like, I've been doing that already for 3 or 4 years. Like, do you know what I mean? It feels like I just started this stuff. So it goes to show two sides of it. One, if you don't do anything, nothing's going to change. And life will take you because time's going to go by regardless. And you're going to die regardless because time's going to go by. Now, the other side of that is you can see how much can change in such a short duration of time when you understand the severity of how limited our time is. And when you can remove this perspective and remove these blockages and remove these stories and these sobs, this bullshit that you're telling yourself in terms of why you can't be as happy or fulfilled and successful in certain areas of your life, the sooner you're going to be able to make these changes. Because once you embrace them, understand how limited time is, you're going to put yourself in a position to do what you need to do at all times to protect your peace, protect your energy, protect your goals, and protect your fucking future. So when you're 80 years old, you can look back and be fucking crying with laughter and happiness and tears of joy because you know you did everything. And that's my goal. I know I'm going to look back and be incredibly fucking happy for what I've been able to provide myself, provide my family, provide my kids, and provide the next generation for myself. And that's my biggest goal. And again, your goal doesn't have to be dependent on that. But again, even from a physical standpoint, you want to be able to look in the mirror and at least know you lived your life as confident as you could. In a relationship standpoint too, in a business standpoint too, in terms of your finances and the freedom you have in your life. And it's not about comparing to other people's heights of success and whatever those look like. It's just about looking at yourself in the mirror and be like, are you happy? It's yes or no. There's no there's no halfway. I'm not 80% happy and 20% happy. It's either yes or no. Now, obviously, there's stress in life. There's things come up that take away from moments, and that's just life, and it is what it is. But again, none of these things can be definitive factors of who we are. So really just understand how fucking limited time is, and really appreciate the time you do have, and make sure you take advantage of every single thing that you have in front of you to make your life the best you can. Because how many summers are you going to let go not being happy? How many Christmases are you going to go by without being happy? How many seasons of life are you going to go by just knowing they're not up to the standard that you need? And the sooner you realize that every single summer that goes by, that's one less summer you're going to have, every single time you realize the next birthday that goes by is one less birthday you're going to have, the sooner you're going to realize the severity of why it's so important to show the fuck up today, stand tall on those fucking boundaries and goals that you want, and get after it. You know, so I hope that resonates. Actually I hate, man, not doing a side tangent, but just trying to fucking use all this new technology is super overwhelming. So I thought the video just stopped, but it didn't. But I'm finished anyways. But seriously, like, I don't want to make this like a negative twist and be like, oh fuck, like, you know, this guy's talking about death, we're gonna die one day and stuff. But again, I just think it's a little bit of a perspective shift where you can get a lot of value because you can understand the weight of the pressure of today and what it brings. And that's why it's so important to put your goals first, put yourself first, and be super fucking selfish with this shit. Because one day you're gonna be on your deathbed. And 90% of the people that you're worried about, 90% of the things that you're worried about, they're not going to be there. All that's going to be there is you, how you feel about your life, and a few select individuals that are riding with you because they've been with you from the beginning. And that's all that matters. So I really want you guys just to take that perspective shift, to hopefully take this summer that much more serious in terms of raising your standards, being happy and fulfilled, and not even just for the summer, but your own financial goals, your own relationship goals, and everything in between. Because yeah, we don't have much time in our life on this planet, and there's going to be one day that our time is done, but that still doesn't mean that our time is limited from the perspective that we can't grow and exceed our expectations and become versions of ourselves that we dream of. So again, look at it from the glass half full. We have a lot of time to put in a lot of work, but we also know that that time is limited and it's not going to be here forever. So that's why it's important to put in the work today and take your goals and yourself super fucking serious. So I hope you guys got some value from that. I appreciate you guys all, as per usual, for tuning in. And if you guys ever need anything, you guys know, just reach out. I'm always here for you guys. But let's keep leading from the front. Let's keep setting those fucking standards. Let's take our fucking time serious, because one day we're not going to have the same time we have today. Let's fucking go.